Hello everybody, it's Chibi, and today I'm going to be doing an anime review on Denki-gai. Now, this week's episode of Denki-gai was more accustomed to my taste when it comes to comedy, and so this episode I was pretty much enjoying for the most part when it comes to this episode, and I love it. I got a good laugh out of it. Now, the parts I want to talk about that made a return in this episode was Lime Cat 2 and 3. Those scenes, by far, are probably one of the funniest scenes in the episode, personally for me, and the ending scene with Sensei going all man mode. That was just completely funny. But let's talk about the Lime Cats first. The Lime Cat scenes, for the most part, it's pretty funny. The comedy we saw from the last Lime Cats are pretty much there, and if you like the comedy from the first one, you'll definitely like the comedy from these new Lime Cat, shorts. Now, here's the thing, though. With this episode, and with all comedy anime, we have to wonder a couple things. Is it going to retain its comedy? Because that's the big problem when it comes to comedy series. Just because a certain comedy segment is to your taste and you get a good laugh out of it, you will eventually grow bored of this comedy if you see it over and over again. And, I mean, it's like, for instance, me repeating the same joke you've already heard less than 2 to 3 minutes ago, or a while ago, but you still remember it completely. You would find it not as funny as the first time. And so the big question is Denki-gai still holding on to the comedy it had from the first episode? Because, I mean, as you can see in this episode, they're starting to reuse comedy gags that they have already used. Like, the entire Sensei thing, they continue to use Sensei's overall embarrassment, her girl power. They've been using that quite a bit in these past couple episodes. Along with this Lime Cat coming back, I mean, it shows you that they're starting to rehash the comedy they've used. And different other segments and scenes we have seen. The only major scene in this episode that was kind of different from the other scenes thus far from the series was definitely the scene where Sensei was most likely going to quit her job to become assistant, and then we found out she just got lesser shift hours, and she managed to actually work as an assistant. So, for the most part, the comedy is starting to get rehashed in the series, and that could be a problem for the future, because when comedy gets reused, it won't be as funny, and eventually you'll grow bored of a series. I'm not saying it's boring right now, I'm not saying the series is boring, I'm just saying that even if you like that certain comedy, it will grow stale if you see it over and over. And it's for anything. Honestly, it's for anything. So, we'll have to see exactly where they take the comedy at. But one thing I do love about Denki-gai when it does come to the terms of the characters and stuff is probably the romance progression. I do love the romance in this series, especially getting to see Umio and Sensei. Their romance in this episode is really nice, and that is one thing I could say that I come to Denki-gai for almost every week, because the romance is very cute and kawaii, and Sensei is a 10 out of 10, even though she has negative girl power. But I guess that pretty much concludes this week's episode of Denki-gai. I mean, it's a very basic, simple episode. I mean, the comedy we have seen before, so I don't really need to go in depth with the comedy. There's some references from here to there in this episode, and the animation, for the most part, looks decent for what it's been doing. So, no complaints, the animation, music, and all that. Just hopefully they will start actually ramping up the comedy instead of using old comedy gags we've already seen thus far from the series. We'll have to see where it goes. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.